Welcome to round 3 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of January 31st. I'm Terry Morrow, and I'm here with Nicole Eridix.
Hello.
And Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
We're moms of teens and young adults, and when it comes to parenting, we've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. But we're still waiting for that day when we'll reach the finish line and have no further need to lay down in a dark room with a wet rag over our eyes, worrying about something or other. Wednesday is complaint day here on Parenting Roundabout, and today we are complaining about simultaneously never being alone and also being lonely. It's the worst of both worlds. I saw an article on Wall Street Journal titled, Moms in Middle Age, Rarely Alone, Often Online, and Increasingly Lonely. Social media has both helped and hurt Gen X mothers dealing with burnout and loneliness during the pandemic. And since y'all are Gen X mothers, but me, not so much, boomer moms have gotten to the point where they would just as soon be left alone. And this loneliness bit is excellent. But you guys are you still feeling the need to reach out and not be socially isolated?
Yeah. I mean, the thing that especially resonated with me on this is the whole, like, you're never alone, but yet you're lonely because, pandemic, because it did, discuss pandemic stuff.
Right.
Saying that has made this worse for a lot of people, the whole, everyone is always home all the time.
Yes.
And so you don't feel like you get any solo time,
right,
alone time, me time, whatever. And yet friendships have changed and gotten more complicated. And so has socializing because of the pandemic. And it just becomes like messy, and then social media on top of it. Like,
right.
Oh, I see somebody went and did this and I didn't, or I wasn't invited, it's
like being a teenager all over again.
It kind of is. So I don't know. So it did definitely ring true with me, I thought.
How about you, Nicole? Are you feeling lonely?
Yeah, I could totally relate to this article. Just from the author's perspective of, like, not finding her mom tribe. I mean, I feel like I had that, and then I moved. And then I haven't ever refound it. Like, I did, because I didn't feel like I fit in with my kids' friends' mothers, just coming from another country, different cultural experiences. And then, my husband traveled a lot when my kids were younger. So it was harder for me to commit to anything outside of the house because I had young kids. And so, and then I look, and then I'm on social media, of course, because I'm trying to stay connected to my older friends, like my friends from back in the day. And I see them all still together doing things, going weekends away, going on retreats, going out for dinner. And so it's pretty, it's not something that, I don't know, like, at this stage, you think by now, you got it all figured out, you got your friend group and everything, but like, life can really make things change.
And I think as your kids get older too, I mean, when your kids are younger, even in high school, their activities, they're your activities to some extent. And so, think about all those millions of hours I spent at ice rinks. Like, I don't do that anymore, but that was social time for me. I was friendly with a lot of those people, those parents that I would see there. And, in some cases, obviously you can retain those friendships even when the kids are not doing it anymore. But it's a lot harder, especially if they have younger kids that are still in the thick of it. It changes for sure.
And, like, I mean, I feel like social media does increase some of that loneliness, but then at the same time, it also alleviates it. Right. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I feel like if I did not have social media, if I did not have Facebook, if I didn't have podcasting, I would be in much worse state. Like, I I feel like it kind of makes things, it eases it a little bit because I can connect to people online.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a struggle because all of a sudden those opportunities to get out and socialize or just be out and about, it just stops. Like it's done. It's like a breakup. It's like, Catherine, you've broken up with skating, and I've broken up with water polo and tennis, and it's pretty sudden. And maybe that's why I have like 5 million part-time jobs right now, because I'm trying to keep busy.
Fill up your time, keep your mind off it.
Yeah. And then, like, even if you have a child who has a close friend and you're close friends with their parent, and your children get older and go their own ways, then sometimes that changes your relationship with their parent, right?
Especially if they don't go their own ways in a amicable fashion.
Yeah. Even if they do, that's even harder if they do that, because you're like, wait, what happened? I thought we were friends. Where are you? It's a hard time, and I don't know if a lot's been done to support women through this transition. Because I think maybe that people assume that women are just working full time, and it's like out of the home. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting transitional time.
And in terms of the two of us, it's so mixed in with pandemic stuff. It just all happened at the same time. So that kind of just probably made it worse.
See, for me, I feel like it happened when I moved.
Yeah.
That has overshadowed everything else. The pandemic, nothing.
You were already lonely.
I was already, kind of trying to figure out a way to, we have some great friends. So we do have some very good couple friends but I think there's a difference between having like social couple friends and then having your mom people, right? I don't know if you would agree with that, but I feel like it's two different sets of friends in a way.
I need to think if I ever really did find my mom tribe. I'm not sure. It was difficult. I mean, I had friendly interactions with many, many, many people.
Right.
But I don't think I ever really had a posse.
You always talk about how your kids' friends' parents,
right?
You basically had to, spending all your time with
definitely.
them.
I always spent a lot of time with it, but we didn't spend time alone away from the kids. It was just always a kid adjacent thing. I think one time I went to the movies with one of my son's friends' moms, and I think that was the only time. I think everything else, it was with the kids. So that's kind of different. And it's also like not a self-selected group, because it's just who your kids happen to be friendly with.
Right.
And
or who they're in a class with, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. In that case, it was in a class with. And, you may or may not like the moms particularly, but you get to like each other just from proximity. But I feel like I was always active in school. So I was always around other moms, and the regular ed moms were friendly and welcoming to me, but I wasn't one of them. And the moms of kids with disabilities, everybody has their own thing. Everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own problems. Everybody has the things they found that are different and are passionately involved in. And it's just not you're busy and you have so much stuff to do. And if this person's the disability is slightly different and their mom is into this thing, I just didn't really ever hang with moms away from kids. I can think of times of being in waiting rooms when our kids were all in the waiting room, and all the moms would sit and talk. But sometimes I disagreed with what they were doing with their kid, and you can't really say that. Yeah. And we didn't have that personal relationship. So maybe I've always been kind of a lone wolf, being taken in here and there by various packs, but then splitting off.
Right. Being like, yep, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's been weird. I have friends in other contexts, but when my daughter was in the band, I was friendly with all the band parents. I would talk to them, but I wasn't one of them. I was, their kids were all having a very similar experience in life, and mine was having a very different experience. So there's not that much context.
Don't you have but you talk about often having a close friend who
I have one very close friend who when I was in my 20s, all through my life.
Right.
That's like you were saying, there's different groups of friends because she's not a mom. We don't have that experience in common. Okay. We're just friends from, almost all our adult lives. So, right. That's a whole different relationship, and thank God for it. And she's been really great with my kids, and her husband has been really great with my kids. And that's a wonderful thing that, kind of anchors me. But in terms of having that gang that you hang out with, I don't know if I've had that. So I guess I don't miss it now. Now that everybody is in the same boat. Now you know what it's like.
I also moved, when we moved here, my daughter was only 2, but, we didn't know anybody, and I was working from home. So I wasn't meeting anybody through work. And, we met some people through my husband's work, and we met some people through the kids' childcare, which, the precursor to school, and then school and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I definitely feel you, Nicole, in terms of like showing up somewhere where you don't know a single person. Yeah. And a lot of them have lived there their whole life. Yes. It's very weird. I mean, you probably had that in New Jersey too, Terry.
Well, yeah. I mean, I made a big move myself, but it was before I had kids. And I felt like I fit in much better in New Jersey than I had in California. So it was, I had immediately had more friends just because there were more social opportunities. So it wasn't that I was doing it sort of in mid-parenting. That sounds particularly difficult. So I, worked out. I was less lonely here. So it worked out good.
Yeah.
I had friends in California too, and I miss them, but there was just much more of a complete social life here, including a very nice man who I then married. So,
right.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, and then I think it's going to change all over again too, when we actually, our husbands quote unquote retire, and we quote unquote retire. Our kids have, our kids get married or have partners, or may or may not have children. I mean, I think that whole dynamic is going to change our lives too, right? Because then we'll be back more involved with them. And it's just a whole
I'm not sure that's going to happen over here, but you guys can talk about it and I can listen.
Well, I mean, you never know you never know what's around the corner. So
that's true.
And who knows? It may be a friend.
Could happen.
And if you don't have that friend, you can always listen to this podcast. We'll be your friends.
We'll be your friends. We'll be your tribe.
Yeah.
Listen to us. Talk to us every day. You can keep talking while we're podcasting. We'll be a discussion.
Yeah.
Exactly. We understand. Well, that's it for today's round 3. Tune in tomorrow when we'll obsess about encounters with wildlife. And then on Friday to see what we've come up with for our roundup picks this week. Find all our episodes at parentingroundabout.com and talk back in the comments there, on our Facebook page, or on Twitter, where you will find us at Roundabout Chat.